Carrie Underwood is going to be there, but I'm also kind of freaking out because it's been 4 years since I've gone, and I don't think I remember how to line dance.
I got you. I think line dancing's like this.
No. It's pretty much just anything you can do in a line.
That's not right either. Line dancing isn't a line, but it's when people stand in lines and do choreography repeatedly, facing a schwa.
Oh, so it's not just country.
No, it's commonly country, but it can be done in any setting, like at weddings, and a common one is the cha-cha slide. Yeah. Hi, I'm Avery. We're teaching line dancing. I will preface this with I am a little bit sick, so excuse my voice. And my experience with dancing is I started when I was really little. I did ballet from the time I was 3 until I was 11, and then I've been doing cheer for the past 10 years. I have some experience with line dancing, but not a ton.
Hi, I'm Laura. I have been dancing since I was 5. I danced competitively in high school, and now I'm on Westmont's dance team in step. I must admit I'm not very well versed in the world of line dancing. Done a few cha-cha slides here and there, but that's about it. And so I'm excited to embark on this journey with you guys.
And I'm Rachel. I've been dancing since I was 4. I also danced competitively in high school, and I've been teaching tap for the past 8 years, from beginning little kids to master adult classes, and I've been line dancing off and on for the past 4 years.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Michaela, and I took a hip-hop class when I was in 1st grade. But for the last few summers, I went to a bar called Borderline, and I would line dance there every Wednesday night. So line dancing has a dear place in my heart. Today, I'm going to go over the objectives for this session and for our next few sessions. So during our sessions together, I hope to accomplish that you guys are confident and competent in basic line dance steps. I hope that you're able to recognize popular line dances. And I hope that you guys are able to embrace your inner country and have some fun. So for today's lesson, I hope that you guys have an understanding for what line dancing is. We want you guys to learn the warm-up that we'll be doing for the remaining classes together, and to feel comfortable with dancing. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our warm-up. And before we do that, we're going to have you guys get into 3 rows of windows. And let's do that first, and then we'll go to the wall. So,
Is it like 5, 5, and 5?
Make sure you have enough space next to each other to be able to dance. Yeah, there's 3 lines.
yeah, you guys are going to need to have space to where you can't touch someone next to you. And see yourself in there. Alright, I think we're good. So for our warm-up, we're going to do the beloved cha-cha slide. A couple things to go over first is when he says cha-cha now, that's your indication you're going to go to your next wall. So you're going to turn counterclockwise or to your left, whatever helps you remember, every single time he says cha-cha now. But we're going to have a teacher at every wall to help you remember, and just make a note to listen to his voice, because he'll be telling you the cues for the dance. There's also one part of the dance where he says Charlie Brown. So that dance move is where you put your left hand behind your head. You're going to take your right hand, you're going to grab your right ankle in like a quad flexion, and then you're going to crunch it in and out. So this is the Charlie Brown. So we want you guys to keep in mind that this warm-up is about getting loose, having fun, and you have freedom in this dance. There's a little structure, but we just want you to have fun. Cool. So I'm going to...
This is something new, the Casper Slide Part 2, featuring the Platinum Band. And this time, we're going to get funky. Funk. Everybody clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands. it back now, y'all. One hop this time. Right foot, let's stomp. Left foot, let's stomp. Chop, chop, real smooth. Turn it out.
Next wall.
To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One hop this time. Right foot, let's stomp. Left foot, let's stomp. Chop, chop now, y'all. Now it's time to get funky. To the right now. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One hop this time. One hop this time. Right foot, two stomps. Left foot, two stomps. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Crisscross. Crisscross. Cha-cha real smooth. Let's go to work. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. Two hops this time. Two hops this time. Right foot, two stomps. Left foot, two stomps. Hands on your knees. Hands on your knees. Get funky with it. Yeah. Come on now, y'all. Cha-cha now, y'all. Turn it out. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. Five hop this time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right foot, let's stomp. Left foot, let's stomp. Right foot again. Left foot again. Right foot, let's stomp. Left foot, let's stomp. Freeze. Everybody clap your hands. How low can you go? Can you go down low? All the way to the floor? How low can you go? Can you bring it to the top? Like you never had to stop? Can you bring it to the top? One hop. Right foot now. Left foot now, y'all. Cha-cha real smooth. Turn it out. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One hop this time. One hop this time. Reverse. Reverse. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Reverse, reverse. Reverse, reverse. Cha-cha now, y'all. Cha-cha again. Cha-cha now, y'all. Cha-cha again. Turn it out. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. Two hops, two hops. Two hops, two hops. Right foot, let's stomp. Left foot, let's stomp. Charlie Brown. Hop it out now. Slide to the right. Slide to the left. Take it back now, y'all. Cha-cha now, y'all. Yeah. 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 Do that stuff. Do it. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.
Yay, so hopefully you guys are feeling warmed up. I am going to go over a few. I'm going to be going over a few concepts and terms that are common in the dance world. If you're taking a dance class, I'm sure some of these will be familiar. So the first thing I want to go over is windows. So we kind of touched on it at the beginning, but I'm going to go more into depth. So basically, we're going to have 3 lines. The first line, nice, you guys are filed in. The second line, you want to make sure you're in between each person in the front line so that you can see yourself. And then the third line, you're going to go right behind the person in the front line, and then shuffle a little bit to the right or left so that you can still see yourself in the mirror. So does everyone have a spot? Okay. The second thing I'm going to go over is counting. So when we dance, we count in 8s. So most of the moves we're going to be doing are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The third thing is from the top. So when we're going to start the dance from the very, very beginning, we're going to go like this. We're going to put our hand on our head. We're going to say, from the top. So if you're ever confused, if we're about to start the dance and you don't know where we're starting from, we will tell you, from the top. And then the last thing is more pertains to line dancing in general. I mean, line dancing in specific. And so we're going to incorporate different walls while we're dancing. So we have a front wall, a side wall, a back wall, and another side wall. And we're going to be transitioning from turning to different walls. And so you just want to remember that we're not only going to be dancing to the front. But we'll always have a teacher at each wall so that you're not lost and you know what to do at that time. So yeah.
Alrighty. So now I am going to teach you a couple of pretty simple moves, and I'm going to have Rachel help me demonstrate them. So our first move is a step touch. So you're going to start with your right leg. For most of these moves, you're going to start on your right side. So if you just want to remember, right first, perfect. So you're going to step out with your right foot and then bring your left foot to touch down next to it. And then step with your left, bring your right foot to touch down next to that. And yeah, basically repeat that. So we're going to do an 8 count of that. So I will count this down from 5. So I'll go 5, 6, 7, 8, and step. All right. So 5, 6, 7, 8, right, touch, left, touch, right, touch, left, touch. Great. Any questions with that one? Good. All right. So the next progression from that is we're going to do a step kick. So instead of touching with your foot, you're going to kick it out. So step with your right, kick with your left, step with your left, kick with your right, and repeat that. So again, 5, 6, 7, 8, right, kick, left, kick, right, kick, left, kick. Great. Any questions? No? Perfect. So now we're going to get a little bit more movement oriented. We're going to step forwards and then step backwards. So it's going to be in a sort of zigzag motion. You're going to step forwards, kind of at a diagonal with your right foot, and then bring your left foot up to meet it and touch. Step up in a diagonal with your left, touch with your right, and step forward, touch, left forward, touch. All right. Now we're just going to do the reverse of this and step back with your right foot and touch with your left. Step back with your left, touch with your right, right back, left back. Great. So we're going to do 4 steps forward and 4 steps backwards. So 2 on the right, 2 on the left, both times. So let's do that. All right. 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, touch, left, touch, right, touch, left, touch, back, right, touch, left, touch, right, touch, left, touch. Any questions? Great.
Great. So the next step we're going to learn is a grapevine. If you have any history with sports, it's a step that's very similar to a karaoke. And we're going to start with our right. So there's 4 movements total in a grapevine, and each movement happens on 1 beat for a total of 4 beats. So we're going to start by stepping out on our right and transferring our weight so that we can cross behind ourselves with our left, transfer the weight again so we can step out with the right, and then we're going to touch with the left. So don't put any weight on this foot because now we're going to go back to the left by stepping out with the left, crossing behind with the right, step out with the left, and touch. So let's do 4 of those. I'll count us off. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great. How does that feel? Confident? Great. The next step we're going to go over is a Monterey turn. In other styles of dance, this is called a 3-point turn, so you'll probably hear us use the terms interchangeably. If we say Monterey turn or 3-point turn, we mean the same thing. And it's very similar to a grapevine in that there are 4 steps, and each step happens on 1 beat for a total of 4 beats. So we're going to start by stepping out on the right But instead of keeping your toes pointed forward, you're going to turn your toes so it's facing the wall that we're turning to. And then, yeah, so step out, transfer the weight, and then bring your other foot together. Now you should be facing the back wall. And now you're going to come back with your right foot behind yourself.
Pivot on your left foot
Yeah,
to bring your
on your
right
left,
foot
So
around.
that you're back to the front, and then touch with the left. Now we reverse it to go to the left. So we step out with the left, pivot, now we're facing the back. Again on the left foot, behind yourself, right foot in. So I'll go over that again. So on the left, we step out on the left, turning over our left shoulder counterclockwise, bringing our right foot together, so now we're facing the back wall. Now bring your left foot behind you so that you're still turning over your left shoulder, and then your right foot comes in to touch. So let's go ahead and practice that nice and slow. 5, 6, 7, 8, right, turn, right, together, left, turn, left, together, again, right, turn, right, together, left, turn, left, together. How does that feel? Should we go over it one more time, or are we good to move on? Again? Okay, we'll go over it one more time. So again, on the right, we're stepping out to the right, moving our left foot, so now we're facing the back wall, and now back, moving your right foot behind you, and now you're facing the front again. So let's do 2 more turns, so right and left. 5, 6, 7, 8, right, left, right, together, left, right, left, together. How'd that feel? Feels much better. Great. Okay, so the next step is a jazz square. And in a jazz square, again, it's 4 counts, so 1 movement per each count. And you're literally going to be making a box with your feet. So when we say a right jazz square, that means that we are stepping forward on our right. And if we say a left jazz square, that means we're stepping forward on our left first. So first we'll learn a right jazz square. And so you're going to step forward on the right. Then you're going to cross with your left. Then you step back with your right. And back with your left. So now you're back to parallel. So again, forward on the right, cross with the left, back with the right, back with the left. So let's do that. We'll do 2 of them. Yeah.
How big of steps are we taking for this?
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be huge. It can be right underneath you.
Okay.
Yeah, just in your own little space.
Okay. So
Good question.
not too big.
You're not like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a traveling step. So. Great. Okay, so all together, 5, 6, 7, 8, right, cross, back, left. Again, right, cross, back, left. Good. Now we're going to learn it on the left. So again, we're just reversing the movement. So we step forward on the left, cross with the right, step back on the left, back on the right. So let's try that all together. 5, 6, 7, 8, forward, cross, back, back, forward, cross, back, back. Good. How does that feel? Any questions? Great. The last step that we're going to learn is kickball change. So Avery will demonstrate what a kickball change looks like. Yeah. So we're going to start by just learning the ball change. And the ball change, we're doing exactly what the step says. So it's also called a rocking step in line dancing. So again, you might hear us use both terms, but it's the same step. So you're going to step back on the ball of your right foot, and then transfer your weight, and then change your weight back to your left foot. So ball, change, ball, change, ball, change, ball, change. Perfect. And then to do a kickball change, we're just going to add a kick in front of the ball change. So it's like kick, ball, change, kick, ball, change, kick, ball, change, kick, ball, change. Now, the thing that can make this step kind of tricky is that unlike the previous steps where every movement was happening on one beat, the ball change, 2 movements happens in 1 beat. So the ball part happens on the and beat. So if we count it out, it's gonna look like kick, ball, change, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. So let's go ahead and practice that all together. The ball change is gonna be a little bit faster than the kick. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 and 2, kick, ball, change, 1 and 2, kick, ball, change, kick, ball, change, kick, ball, change. Good, that looks really good. Are there any questions on a kick, ball, change? No? Okay. The very, very last thing that I'm going to go over is a scuff turn. So this is a really basic way to transition to a new wall. So in a scuff turn, the scuff looks just like a kick, except your heel makes contact with the ground. So you kick the ground, and then you pivot on your standing foot so that you're facing the new wall. So let's go ahead and try that all together. 5, 6, 7, 8, scuff, turn. Perfect. I don't think we need to go over that anymore. So now we're going to put them all together into all those steps that you just learned into a warm-up, and we'll first demonstrate one wall so that you guys can see what it looks like all together, and then we'll break it down to teach you the sequencing.
So just watch us. Get a little.
Hey girl. Oh now. You know you got everybody looking.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Got a little boom in my big truck. Gonna open up the doors and turn it up. Gonna stomp my boots in the Georgia mud. Gonna watch you make me fall in love. Get up on the hood of my daddy's tractor. Up on the toolbox, it don't matter. Down on the tailgate, girl, I can't wait to watch you do your thing. Shaking for the young bucks sitting in the honky tonks. For the rednecks rocking till the break of dawn. The DJ's spinning that country song. Come on, come on, come on. Shaking for the birds, shaking for the bees. Shaking for the catfish swimming down deep in the creek. For the crickets and the critters and the squirrels. Shaking to the moon, shaking for the girl. Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me.
So that's what you guys are going to be doing. Okay. So now, Laura and I are going to go over sequencing. We're going to break down all the steps that you just learned into 3 different sequences. So it's a little bit easier to imagine putting the whole dance together before we do the whole dance. So for the first sequence, we're going to put together the step, touch, step, kick, step forward and step backwards. So we're first going to start by doing the step, touch together and the step, kick together. So for each of these moves, you're going to do an 8 count. We're going to start off just with the step, touch, 8 count. So 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. So now we're going to add in the step kick. So again, we're just going to go 8 count of step touch into 8 count of step kick. Alright? Any questions? Cool. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. Seems like you guys all got the hang of it. So our last addition in this sequence is we're going to do the step forward and the step backwards. Do you have a question, Tyler?
No.
Oh, sorry. So, right from the step kick, we're going to go into the step forward, step backwards, and I will make sure to call out the moves so we don't forget. So we're going to start from the top. All right, 5, 6, 7, 8. Step, touch, step, touch, step, touch, step, touch, step, kick, step, kick, step, kick, step, kick, step forward, step forward, step forward, step forward, step backwards, step backwards, step backwards, step backwards. Awesome. That was the first sequence. Good. Any questions? questions if we go on to the next sequence? Cool. Seems like you guys are about to have it. All right. So from here, we're going to go into the karaoke and add that with the Monterey turn and the jazz squares. So this one might be a little bit more tricky. We're going to, for all of the moves that we're doing, each of them have 2 8 counts. So there's 2 8 counts of the karaoke, and there's 2 8 counts of the Monterey turn, or the grapevine. So we're going to start with just 2 8 counts of the grapevine. So 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, cool. So now, next we're going to do the Monterey turn with everything else. So we're going to go directly from the grapevine into Monterey turn. So from the top, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Monterey turn. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that seemed a little bit more tricky for you guys, so we can do that. Those 2 together one more time, if you guys. Yeah, seems like we should. Cool. Is there any reason why you guys? There's a little bit more stumbling with that. So, is anything I should go over, or just want to practice it more? Practice it more.
Yeah.
Cool. So 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Monterey turn. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. You guys seem to get it more. Cool. So now we're going to add in the last part, which is the jazz squares. So when you come in from the Monterey turn, it's important to kind of get your legs parallel and go directly into the jazz square. Because if you wait too long, you're going to feel a little off. But don't worry if you get off, because this is why we have our time to practice. So we're going to go from the top, 5, 6. We're adding in the jazz squares this time. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Monterey turn. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Jazz square. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I see we had some trouble with the jazz squares. So an easier method to kind of help you guys go from the right jazz square to the left jazz square, because I had a really hard time learning this at first too. When you come back from the last right jazz square, you're going to not put all your weight down on your left foot. You're going to have your left foot still kind of up so you can go directly into the next turn. So instead of having your feet both flat on the ground when you finish your right jazz square, you're going to go your weight partly on your left foot, so it's easier to go into that left jazz square. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So we're going to do that sequence one more time. So from the top, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Monterey turn. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Jazz square. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. How do we feel about that sequence? Do we need to go over it one more time? No? You guys got it? Okay, cool. Now I'm going to turn it over to Laura, and we're going to learn the last sequence.
So I'm going to show you the last sequence. It's just 3 moves, but they're important, and you want to think. You're going to have kick, pull, change into a scuff, turn, and then lastly, pause, clap, clap. So Michaela's going to show that for you guys. kickball change, stuff, turn, stop, clap. So you guys want to try that all together? Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8. Kickball change, stuff, turn, stop. Okay, let's try that one more time. Kickball change, stuff, step, turn, stop. Awesome. You guys have any questions about that before we put the entire sequence together? Nice. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say the moves, and Michaela is going to show them, so you guys can just follow her. And we're just going to do one wall to the front without music. From the top. 5, 6, 7, 8. Step, touch, step, touch, step, touch, step, touch, step, kick, step, kick, step, kick, step, kick. Forward, step, touch, forward, step, touch, forward, touch, back, touch, back, touch, back, touch, back, touch. Grapevine. To the right, grapevine. To the left, grapevine. To the right, grapevine. To the left, Monterey turn. To the right, Monterey turn. To the left, Monterey turn. To the right, Monterey turn. To the left, right jazz square. Right jazz square. Left jazz square. Left jazz square. Kick, ball, change, scuff, turn, stop. Okay, you guys want to do that one more time without music? Yeah, okay, let's do that one more time.
Cool.
From the very top. 5, 6, 7, 8. Step, touch, step, touch, step, touch, step, touch, step, kick, step, kick, step, kick, step, kick. Forward touch, forward touch, forward touch, forward touch, back touch, back touch, back touch, back touch. Grapevine to the right, grapevine to the left, grapevine to the right, grapevine to the left. Monterey turn to the right, Monterey turn to the left, Monterey turn to the right, Monterey turn to the left. Right jazz square, right jazz square, left jazz square, left jazz square. Kick, ball, change, scuff, turn, stop. Nice. Okay, now you guys have the chance to do it with music.
We're going to do them all together, but don't worry, we're going to have an instructor at each one of the walls. Something to keep in mind is if you're having trouble staying on the beat, try counting the 8 counts in your head. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know it's fun to listen to the music, but when you're trying to learn it, if you have issues, that might be helpful.
And just have fun, guys. Just let loose. And we start when he starts talking.
Hey, girl.
So this is freestyle.
Oh, now. You know you got everybody looking.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Got a little boom in my big truck. Gonna open up the doors and turn it up. Gonna stomp my boots in the Georgia mud. Gonna watch you make me fall in love. Get up on the hood of my daddy's tractor. Up on the toolbox, it don't matter. Down on the tailgate, girl, I can't wait to watch you do your thing. The young bucks sitting in the honky tonks, from the rednecks rocking till the break of dawn. The DJ spinning that country song. Come on, come on, come on. Put the birds singing, put the bees shaking, for the catfish swimming down deep in the creek, for the crickets and the critters and the squirrels. Girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Girl, shake it for me, Somebody's a little farmer child. You gotta let her blood to get a little wild. Ponytail and a pretty smile. Welcome me in from a country. Come on, get in my arms. Spin me around this big old barn. Tangle me up like grandma's yarn. Yeah, yeah, yeah. For the young bucks sitting in the honky tonk. For the rednecks rocking till the break of dawn. For the DJ spinning that
Step left. Good job, guys.
That was awesome. You guys
You
did really well.
guys did so good. So we encourage you to try and remember this. We'll go over it again next time, just as a quick review. But this is going to be our warm-up to start every session because it's a good review of the basic steps and it'll get us loose so that we don't injure ourselves when we learn more complicated movements. So, does anyone have any questions from what we did today? Any last things? Yeah.
The transition from the left jazz square to the kickball change is what's messing me up the most.
Yeah.
Read
So
those transitions.
it's pretty similar to the transition from the right to the left. So when you finish your second left jazz square, instead of putting weight on your right foot, just touch, and then you're ready to do kickball change, kickball change. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the hardest part.
Did anyone have any moves in particular that they found difficult that we can make sure to go over?
Jazz squares are just always hard to me. Sometimes I just catch it at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's fine too. We'll be sure to go over it again next time. But yeah, if that happens, just catch up when you can. And the most important part is just to have fun. Does anyone have a favorite move? I like grapevines.
The scuff turn.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I like non-right turn because I like spinning.
Great. Well, thank you guys.
Let's go over to Michael.
So I'm gonna have all of you guys lie down on your mat, on your backs, close your eyes, relax for a second, put your hands at your side. Good. Remember to keep your guys' eyes closed. Now I want you guys to take a big, deep breath. I want you guys to control the air into your lungs. Expand at the rib cage. Your stomach shouldn't be rising. Take around 10 deep breaths. All the way in, all the way out. Control that breath. Now, as you guys are doing that, I want you guys to think about your body in relationship to the mat. Think about the points of contact that are currently being made, all the way from the back of your head to your thoracic region, to your glutes, to your calves, and your heels. I want you guys to think about the control you have over that right now. Think about, does your change in breath change those contact points? Keep thinking about it. Think about the alignment of your spine right now. Think, does any slight change in movement change those contact points of your spine to the mat? I want you guys to keep that relaxed mindset. Keep your eyes closed and take a couple more deep breaths. Good. Breathe all the way in, all the way out. Remember, all in the rib cage and not in the stomach. Good. Keep breathing. I want you guys to put all the stress away, any that you've had throughout the day. And I want you guys to open your eyes. You guys can sit on up. You guys can face the room.
Okay, so when you hear that, that will act as our transition cue for the next activity. So whenever you hear that, you want to bring your attention to the front of the room, to us. And so after that exercise of meditating, how did you guys feel? Besides good? Relaxed? Yes. Was there anything that helped you concentrate better in meditating while Jeremiah was speaking? Was there anything distracting? The flies? Okay, with all that said, I'm Amanda. I do not have that many experience in Pilates, but I'm excited to teach this class.
I'm Jeremiah. I also have no real experience teaching Pilates other than my research project course. So.
Okay, and I'm Brian, and I've had experience with Pilates, so this is not new to me, and I'm excited to teach you guys.
My name's Allison. My Pilates experience pretty much started last year. I had like a mid-college life crisis, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do. And so I looked into Pilates, and now I'm currently in the process of getting certified to teach it. So with that, we're going to start with the history of Pilates. So it all started with this guy named Joseph Pilates. He was very sick as a child, and his mother believed in natural ways of healing the body, and his dad was a gymnast. So putting the two together, he kind of came up with this method of chronontology, which is what it was called originally before it was changed to Pilates. Then he was, in the military during World War II, and he was in a camp where he was with injured soldiers. And as kinesiology majors, we all have a pretty good idea that when you're in bed rest, the worst thing that you can do is not move. That's the worst thing you can do for your body. So he would take springs from the beds, and he would attach it to the ends of the bed and give them resistance work for their arms, legs, working on their core. And so World War II, Germany becomes, its political movement goes to Nazism, right? So he didn't agree with this, and he traveled to America, actually, where he met his wife on the boat. And he opened and established the first studio in New York, actually kind of near Broadway. And so he got a lot of ballerinas and people that were on Broadway shows. So you'll see a lot of influence in that, where they needed to be in certain positions throughout their shows and hold them for a long time. So next, I'm going to talk about the course objectives, and these are overall course objectives in Pilates in general, and what we hope you can accomplish in this class. So we have whole body health. Now, if you're got low back pain, I've had it since I was 10, we might not be able to fix it in about 6 classes, but we hope that you have an idea of how moving your body in the correct way, with the right cues and everything like that, you can learn to engage your body and completely come to health. It'd also be a good place to rebalance and say, what is your body needing? What is it missing right now? And whole body commitment, kind of going along with that, looking at different ways to exercise beyond the typical sprinting, everything like that. You'll find that Pilates is not exactly like yoga, but it's different than the normal exercises that you might do. The next course objective is breath. This is so important. He emphasizes it in everything that he does. A lot of the cues are breath, and Brian will go into a little bit more detail about that. So the last thing that we have is safety. We want you guys to listen to your body. Pilates is easy until you do it right. So we want you to not feel uncomfortable or any pain, but we want you to know that if you're this doesn't feel right, or I'm not feeling it, where they're saying I should feel it, flag us down, give us some hard eye contact, and we'll come over and help you and try and get you in that right position. So with that, I'm going to have Brian explain the daily course objectives for today.
Alright, thank you, Allison. As you have heard, we're going to be going over the overview of what the course is going to be like. Couple expectations that we have, and you have heard from Allison, is that we have 2 types of objectives: our course objectives and our daily objectives. Our daily objectives are the objectives we want to achieve throughout that day, and gradually sequence into something more complex within our exercises. So we figured, what would be the most crucial elements in beginning a Pilates class, and we figured that awareness and breathing were one of the key components when beginning this class. Awareness in the fact that, you need to have knowledge when performing a movement, to know that you're doing it correctly, and limit your errors. In this class, we'll be focusing more on body positioning in relation to the mat, and that is where my hips are aligned with the mat, our feet, our legs, our hands, our arms, our chins, and our head. Breathing ties in that aspect, and that we want to keep an awareness of how we breathe, and that how are we controlling our breathing when the exercise begins or when it ends. When do I inhale? When do I exhale? Which would be, one of the key things that we'll be focusing on today. And within our behavior objectives, we want to incorporate all our daily objectives that we do each class session and integrated with self-assessment and being comfortable in your abilities, but also being honest with yourself when it comes to limitations. With all that to say, please listen to your bodies because they are talking, and overall, just have fun. And Amanda or Allison will take us through our first activity.
All right, so we asked on the pre-assessment, but I just want to ask again, who's okay with tactile cues? Are we all good with that? Is there anybody who's not okay with them? Okay, so in Pilates, a lot of helpful cues come from tactile movements and adjusting, with our hands. So if you ever feel uncomfortable, we'll always ask before we help. But if you ever feel uncomfortable or you're like, I don't want a guy touching me, let us know and we can switch it up, find someone who can help you. Another thing that I want to disclaim is that we have a lot of anatomical terminology, and some of them you might feel uncomfortable with. If that's the case, that's okay. For the next exercise that we're doing, you might not want us to put a sticker on your pubic bone. That's okay. You don't have to. We just want you to know that they're there. They're gonna they'll be said, but you don't have to. If that makes you uncomfortable. All right, you guys ready? Let's get started. So grab those stickers that I gave to you. As you can see, we got a lot of dots on our, course instructors. So we're gonna take the first one. Why don't you guys stand up? And if you need any help, you can look at our instructors. We kind of got them all over the place, but we'll go through them one by one. So the first sticker you're gonna take and you're gonna put it on your nose. The next sticker, you're going to put it on your chin. Good. Alright, next one goes on the sternal notch. So that's that little divot under the bottom of the neck in between the two clavicle bones. Perfect. Next we've got the breastbone. So if you were to draw a line from nipple to nipple, it's right in between the two on the sternum. Good. The next one is our belly button. So if you can find those. After that one, we'll go ahead and find our pubic bone. This might be harder for some than others.
And again, guys, if you're awkward, then don't feel it.
Alright, then it splits. And we have our AS, IS, so we're putting one on each hip joint.
You guys look goofy.
Good. Once you got that, we'll go ahead and go to the center of our knee. Right down here. Good. You guys look great. The pink really stands out. Brings your eyes out. Next, we're going to go, this is kind of weird, but between the second and third toe. So it's right here. It's still on my foot, but just in between the two.
Sorry, can you repeat that one?
So between the second and third toe. So down here on our foot and between the two. Perfect. Now you've got the front side. Now we're going to do the side of our body. And this side can be a little bit more telling than the front. So we've got our earlobe to start. We're all getting new piercings. So it doesn't matter what side. Yeah, so we're just going to put stickers on one side of our body. It doesn't matter which one. And after that, you're going to go center of your shoulder. Not sure, but center of your shoulder. From there, you're going to go and find the bottom of your rib. This one's a little bit difficult, so if you need to exhale and bend to the side to find it, go ahead and do that. Perfect. Once you've got that one, we're going to go to the top of our iliac crest. Place your foot. Good. So bottom of the rib, top of the iliac crest. Then we've got our greater trochanter. Make Afton proud, find it. Good. Once you find that, you're going to find the center of your knee again, but on the side. So we've got top of the crest, greater trochanter, and then the center of the knee on the side. And after that one, the last one we have is the anterior malleolus. So that's the one right here. Perfect. Alrighty. Once you're done, if I could just have your attention looking towards me so I know. Alright, so I'm going to have my partners pair you guys up, or you guys can pair up if you feel.
Yeah, so if we could have guys, girls, Patrick,
You guys together. You guys together.
Or if there's like
And what you guys are going to be doing is you're going to help them.
Yes, perfect.
These 6 people to look for.
So once you are in your pair, what you're going to be doing is you'll be looking at the front of the body and the side of the body. And what you're trying to do is create a straight plumb line. So this is a term that we'll use commonly. What that is trying to keep those dots in a straight line. And again, the front or the side is more telling sometimes than the side. Okay, front. Yeah. So. Sometimes it's hard to
Just stand up straight. So you guys is each other's.
Nice.
Yeah, your head's kind of a little bit forward. So try to bring it back. Okay, so chin, good.
Everyone knows what to do.
Look at their hips. Are they even? Is one higher than the other? So, but you want your to one on my chin.
Well, to get that like feeling of like in the office, so I can like to get that correct.
Have you tried this out yet?
And that makes sense.
So, yeah, so I see his earlobe is not no.
Yeah, maybe. It's
So,
more like,
if you haven't already, try
yeah, see her
aligning the
hands are
side. That can sometimes tell you a little bit more than the front can.
So just give each other like feedback on like what you guys see and what you guys can work on. And if some stickers are like misplaced, just work on that too.
Oh. Alright. If everybody could just come back to their mats. So I'm sure you guys were like, this is kind of weird, or you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. But I hope that you can take those notes, make mental notes of that. So if you had to like tuck your hips, if you had to bring your ribs in, tuck your chin in, they feel awkward, but just make note of those as you go on throughout the course. It'll help you effectively move whenever we do motions, and it can really make you a lot stronger when you go in a straight plumb line, certain motions. So, with that, I'm going to take it to Brian.
Thank you, Allison. All right, so for our second activity, we're going to want to be in supine position. So that means mat, or your back's flat on the mat.
So everyone go ahead and lie down on the mat, your backs facing the ceiling.
Keep your legs straight out. So before we transition into our breathing technique, as Allison mentioned, we want to make sure our posture is perfectly aligned. So for this exercise, we're going to want to have kind of a slightly cup-shaped hand underneath your lumbar region, so between you and the mat. If this also helps, you can like just think about a blueberry, and you don't want to crush that blueberry. Yeah, so my team and I will be going around making sure you guys have spatial. So
So we want a gap?
Just both hands?
just make sure you're smart. Yeah. So you guys can remove your hands. You don't have to leave them there, but that's kind of the spacing we want for every exercise. So for this posture, we're always going to refer back to it as the neutral position, as it is the key in keeping awareness of how we perform our exercises. Nice, guys. All right, for our next part, we're going to want to place our hands over our rib cage. Make sure those middle fingers are touching each other. There you go. So when it comes to the breathing technique, we want to make sure our chins are slightly up and focusing on something on the ceiling. With our hands on our rib cage, take a deep breath in. And as you're taking that deep breath in, we want to feel our hands and fingers separating from each other. Make sure those hands are separating each other. And as we come back in, inhale again. Our middle fingers are touching each other. So work on this for good 5 reps. And just make sure you have the control and awareness of breathing. After those 5 reps, just give me a thumbs up when I know you guys are ready.
Keep your thumbs up too.
Alright, perfect, guys. Good, yeah, so from here on out, we always refer to this as the neutral position, and this is our starting point for every exercise, as we want to be aware of avoiding common errors and injuries, and also focusing on our breathing of when we breathe in before every exercise, and then during that extension of breathing out during that exercise. Amanda will take us now to our 3rd activity.
Okay, great guys. So you guys can sit up. I will first explain what activity we're doing, and then I will have my 2 demonstrators demonstrate the technique, and then you guys will try it as a whole as a class. So it is the pelvic tilt. It's a very important and basic exercise in Pilates to help warm up our lower back region or our lumbar region. So first we're gonna, here explain for a second. So we're gonna lay on our backs like we just did, and we're gonna bend our knees at a 45-degree angle and with our feet flat on the ground. And then we're going to inhale. And then as you inhale, you're going to exhale, but as you exhale, you're going to gently rotate your hips anteriorly. During this position, you should feel your lower back flat on the mat, and this is called imprinting. So unlike what we just learned with the blueberry analogy with having that little gap, you want your lower back to be fully flat. And your pelvis should be tucked during this phase. So the next phase, we're going to hold this position for a few breaths, and then after a few breaths, you're going to inhale to prepare for the pelvic tilt, and as you exhale, you're going to put your tailbone towards your heels, and your pelvis should do a scooping motion, and that's the pelvic tilt. So as you exhale to the pelvic tilt, you're going to inhale again, and exhale to go back to imprinting, or working backwards. And so during imprinting, you're going to inhale and exhale back into neutral position, which we just did with Brian's breathing technique. And before I let you guys try it, I want to go over some common errors, because as simple as this might look, it can be actually very complicated. So some common errors that people tend to do is that they forget to breathe, so don't forget that part. The second one is people tend to lift their pelvis instead of rotating. So don't just merely lift it. You want to really rotate it towards your feet, so anteriorly rotated. And the other one is a lot of people tend to use their core incorrectly. So in this exercise, really engage your core and really engage the abdominal muscles. People sometimes just tend to stick out their stomach and not really engage in the muscles. So really focus and be aware of your engagement with your core. So we're gonna do 3 sets of 10 reps, and we can try it all as a class now. I'm gonna count to 10, so we're gonna do 10 reps per set. So we can lay down on our backs and then bend our knees with our feet flat on the ground.
Remember to keep that neutral position. So that blueberry underneath your lumbar region.
Squish your blueberry.
10.
Alright, whenever you guys are ready, Amanda will count us down.
10. Every time I count, we're going to go into the pelvic. 10. 9. 8. So each count is a rep of the pelvic tilt. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Okay, we're gonna do the second set. Do the same thing. Each count is a pelvic tilt. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Okay, before we start the last set, if you guys need a drink of water or to loosen up a bit, feel free to do that now before the last set. Great job, guys. You guys did great.
We'll take a couple seconds, so if you guys want to just sit back up, just catch a breather, just loosen up.
There was a lot of squish blueberries. That's good.
Again, also you guys, another technique that I use is I think that I'm moving my belt buckle. That can also help visualize the actual rotation of the pelvis going forward and back. So if that helps for you guys, then by all means use it.
Rather than just lifting and rotating. But you guys? Okay, so if everyone's ready, we're gonna go into the last rep, last set. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing. Each count is 1 rep of the pelvic tilt. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great job, you guys.
Alright guys,
Feel free
I
to
like
sit
it.
up,
Yeah.
loosen
Sit
up,
up.
drink water, again if you need to. Does anyone have any questions about that technique?
How'd that feel?
Pretty good?
Did it feel
Difficult?
Did anybody feel their low back loosen up a little bit? Yeah.
that's our intent. Alright guys, for our next activity, we'll be going into, I think you guys are familiar with this, but more of a bridging technique. So Allison and Jeremiah will be demonstrating for us, so just Just watch first and we'll go over it afterwards. So they'll begin with their hands out to their sides, knees at 45-degree angles. Okay, good. One of the crucial things and one of the awarenesses that we have emphasized is that keeping that neutral spine position, which looks like, oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that looks good right there. All right, keeping that chin up and focusing our eyes on some specific hole up in the ceiling. Yeah, afterwards, we're gonna inhale in. And as we inhale, we're gonna squeeze our glutes and fully extend our hips up. Kind of like this elevator motion. Once we're holding it, we're gonna hold it for 2 to 3 seconds. And one of the key components that we have to look forward to is when we're at the top, we wanna breathe in again. And then when we come back down, exhale. So that looks good. So if you guys are familiar with that, please go back into supine position / your neutral position. Knees at 45-degree angles. Hands out to your sides. Good. All right. Make sure your chin is at a comfortable position as we don't want to create any stress on the neck. All right. Together we're going to do 10 reps. Okay? We're going to take a deep breath in and then fully extend up. Ready? 1. Hold it for 2 to 3 seconds and then come back down. Make sure your glutes are rock solid when they're on the top. All right.
And remember to breathe.
Yeah.
That's important.
All right. 2. And down. Remember to keep breathing. 6. Then come back down. 7. Come back down. 9. Then come back down. And 10. Alright guys, that looks good. Alright, for our next set, we're going to introduce you guys to different layers so you guys can get back up, sit on your mats. We'll introduce a couple of different layers. So Jeremiah will now provide kind of a more challenging bridge. If you guys haven't already had experiences, this might be a good one for you guys. So exactly the same thing, neutral position, knees at 45-degree angle. He's going to extend one leg out, and then take a deep breath in, and then come back up. And then come back up. So this is going to be more of isolating your legs and focusing more on your balance and just keeping aware of where your positioning of your hips are. We don't want to be rotating around. And then Allison will demonstrate for us different techniques. So this is more of a faster pace when it comes to bridging, as she will demonstrate for us. So for this one, we're not going back down and just pulsating up there. So whatever feels more comfortable, you guys want to start in basic one, or do the one Jeremiah is doing, or do the one Allison is doing. Please feel free to. I know this exercise looks kind of weird, and don't get weird thoughts in your head, because it's a really comfortable activity. But yeah, so second set, 10 reps again. Neutral position. Yeah, so if you alternate, so like do 5 on one side and then back.
Feel free to try both modifications if you feel comfortable, if you're able, but if not, totally fine. You just do the basic movement as well.
Either. So if you're comfortable with already starting
Yeah, you can
right
try
here
both if
and
you
then
want.
going back up or
Try
going up,
focusing on one.
then do so. If not, you can start with both legs firmly on the ground and then rise up. And then extend your leg out. And then come
Don't be
back
afraid
down.
to challenge yourself, but make sure
So before
not
you go back down, you want to bring that leg in.
if
And then,
you're not able to handle.
yeah.
Try it.
Make sure those glutes are hard. Nice and accurate.
And guys, keep remembering to breathe before you bridge up. Even if you're doing it alternating, remember, extend the leg out, breathe, bridge, breathe, and back down. Good.
So once you've done 10 reps, give me a thumbs up. And hold it there. For the most part, that looks like everyone's done. So if you need to grab some water, please feel free to as we prepare for our third and final set. Alright, I guess nobody wants water. Alright, let's get this over with then. Alright, third set. Do one of the ones that are challenging for you. If that's, oh sorry, something I didn't go over is when we're alternating with extending the leg out, do 5 on each side of the leg. So whenever you guys are ready, at your own pace, 10 reps, and go.
Good job concentrating your breathing, Jenna.
So make sure you don't mind. So yeah, and so when we send out you guys sit too. Yeah, and then make sure you check this out. Check it out, sir. Alright, when you guys are done with those 10 sets, or those 10 reps, give me a thumbs up. Nice. Alright, that's mostly everyone. Okay, cool.
If you guys need a quick stretch, feel free to bring your knees towards your chest and hug them. You can roll side to side. Really loosen up that low back.
There you go.
Nice. Good.
Feel free to rock back and forth if you guys want to.
Guys, when everyone's feeling stretched, sit on up, face the mirror when you're ready. The next exercise we're going to go over is the plank. How many of you here have done a plank before? Pretty much all of you. Perfect. If not, don't worry, we're going to go over it and explain it. So I'm going to have Amanda and Brian demonstrate for me. There are two types of plank. There is the non-modified plank, which Brian right here is going to demonstrate. He's going to be on his forearms, and he's going to have his toes and legs extended out. Now, again, some of you have done this plank positioning, or, like myself, I personally prefer it with the hands underneath the shoulders. Either one is okay. It doesn't matter. I get it. Some people have wrists that hurt when our body weight is underneath those. That's okay. If that doesn't work, you can go on your fists. You guys have mats, so it shouldn't hurt too much. But again, if that hurts, by all means, follow what Brian's doing. Brian, you can go ahead and relax. Amanda here is going to demonstrate the modified plank. The modified plank, again, is if sometimes it happens to me too, my toes hurt, by all means, go ahead and go onto your knees. She's going to extend her knees past her hips, but she's going to cause herself to activate her core. Now, her core isn't just her abs or her rectus abdominis, it's her transverse abdominis, and it's a lot of our back muscles. What you can do is, you can go ahead and focus. What you guys can do is to help get that core activation. I do a method called the cough. It's just a little, and what it can do is help brace your core. But what it does is it activates both the back muscles and the core muscles. So, if you guys are ready, go ahead. Like supine, I'm going to have your guys' heads towards the mirror. Not supine, prone. I'm gonna have you guys in the quadruped position. I want you guys' hands underneath the shoulders, and I want your guys' knees underneath your hips. Now, go ahead, decide now, are you guys gonna do the modified, or are you guys gonna do the non-modified? It doesn't matter if you guys are doing elbows, or if you guys are doing on your hands. By all means, go ahead and choose. We're gonna try and hold it for 1 minute. I'm gonna set a timer. Do not feel like you guys have to do that 1 minute hold. We're gonna aim for it. If you feel like you have to at any point, go to the modified or stop and then continue for that minute, by all means go for it. So when you guys are ready, go ahead, kick those legs back or kick those knees back, and in 3, 2, 1, go. So you guys, remember, get that pop if you need to activate. If not, try and bring that belly button to back. Good.
Make sure you don't stick your butt out too much. You want to keep it flat.
Again, by all means, you guys, if you need to stop, go ahead and stop, regroup, and go back to it.
If when you stop, your low back is hurting, you can go into a child's pose and help release it.
Halfway there, you guys. More seconds. Nice, you guys. Remember, focus on breathing. Remember that plumb line.
Nice, guys. That looks really good.
Go ahead and drop it, you guys. Awesome. How'd that feel? Rough? I can imagine. So, what we have are layers, and layers help build upon an exercise if they become too easy for you guys to do, especially with the modified or non-modified. If that felt easy for you guys doing the non-modified plank, Brian here's going to demonstrate what we call layer 1. Layer one just adds a level of difficulty. What Brian's going to do is he's going to maintain that plank positioning, the non-modified, and to increase that difficulty, he's going to extend one of his hips in the air. And what he's going to do is he's going to try and hold that hip extension for 30 seconds. Then, after the 30 seconds, he's going to relax, and he's going to bring the other hip up. What this can do, again, is it just adds a level of difficulty if those non-modified planks were too easy for you guys. Brian, you can go ahead and so. Again, if you guys are planning to do one of those layers, by all means, go ahead and try it. If you can't move for 30 seconds, try 10-second intervals. 10 seconds up, relax, hold that plank for 10 seconds, and then lift that other leg. So, if you guys are ready, go ahead, get in that quadruped position again. I'm going to set a timer for another minute. All means, if you guys feel like that last set was too hard, non-modified, go ahead and drop it to the modified. So, if you guys are ready, we'll go again for a minute in 3, 2, 1, and up. Nice.
Think about that hip. Is it rotating? Are they parallel?
Good, halfway you guys, keep it up. Switch if you're doing the alternating.
Switch, feel free.
Nice, Patrick.
Again, if you guys feel like you need to drop and take a little breather, go ahead. Almost there, 15 more seconds. Good. Remember, focus on that plumb line. Try and keep that in your head. Keep those images of those pink dots in a straight line on the side. And drop it, you guys. Perfect. So, we've got one more set. Now, Allison's going to demonstrate the second layer. This one is very, very difficult, even for me. This is very hard. Now, Allison's going to demonstrate layer 2, and what she's going to demonstrate is she's going to contralaterally extend one of her arms and her opposite leg. Now, as you see here, she's extending her right leg and her left arm. You guys do not have to hold this for the whole 30 seconds. This is hard as is. If you guys feel you need to, go ahead and do sets of alternating, keeping that plank position, holding for 1 or 2 seconds with the contralateral extension. Again, if the layer 1 felt super easy, by all means try layer 2, but if not, go ahead, drop it down, or just keep it the way it was. So, if you guys are feeling ready, grab a drink of water really quick before we go on to the next set. But we're going to go for 1 more minute. How's everyone feeling? Good? Tired?
Remember to use your breath to your advantage on this. It helps a lot correcting any mistakes.
So, all right, everyone get in that quadruped position. Good. Remember, hands underneath the shoulders, and then if you guys are doing forearms, keep that elbow right underneath the shoulder. You should be a straight line from that elbow to your shoulder. So, when you guys are ready, we'll go again, and in 3, 2, 1, and start.
If you find yourself, if your hips are rotating, engage your core, try to straighten out and square your hips.
Nice.
Again, remember, if you're doing layer 2, focus on those hips. They shouldn't drop or rise too much. Halfway done, guys.
Nice, very good. Remember to breathe in and out. Don't hold your breath.
Yes, no holding breaths.
No, reset. Okay, reset.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and drop you guys. Guys, go ahead and relax, stretch.
Water if you need to.
Awesome. And Allison's going to go ahead and conclude our lesson for the day.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm just going to review the course objectives and see, and hopefully you guys can see where they fit into what we're doing here throughout this course. So we've got whole body health, refocusing, what is your body telling you? I'm sure some of you were like, oh, that is not an option. They're like, oh, this is actually okay, I can push myself a little harder. So really engaging with your body and like finding how you can move healthy and balanced. Next is whole body commitment. So you had to keep engaged, right? That was a lot harder on the third plank to keep your body committed to staying in that into that plumb line, the straight plumb line. And so looking at that, seeing how this was difficult, even though it might seem like a little bit of an easier exercise, and how you can apply that outside. Next, breath. I don't know if you saw me on the contralateral plank, but breathing is huge to your advantage. It helps you engage the right muscles, whether that's pelvic tilts, planking, lifting one leg and one arm. And lastly, safety. So throughout the whole thing, listening to your body, being aware of what's going on, and if you're engaging the right muscles or not. And with that, Brian.
All right, thank you, Allison. Just to recap on our daily objectives for today, it was awareness and breathing. So awareness of where our positioning, our bodies are positioned with the mat, and awareness of how to breathe and incorporate that breathing technique when we begin and end our exercises. Along that side, we incorporated that breathing technique with just finding out our abilities and limitations, and being honest with ourselves and our bodies when it comes to finding those limitations, as it can be hard to compare each other and be like, wow, she can do that or he can do that. But just be honest with yourself, listen to your body and its capabilities. Yeah, and then
And so, how many of you guys, was this your first Pilates class? Oh wow, so it's new for a lot of you. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Even if it wasn't your first time taking a Pilates class, what was something that you learned that stood out to you today? Maybe one of the movements?
You guys can yell it out.
Tyler?
How good the pelvic tilts feel?
Great low back release.
Yes.
So good.
Anyone else? Anything new or that stood out that you liked?
Like awareness.
Now, do you guys see yourself incorporating some of the stuff done here today into any of your workouts? Yeah, definitely. Which one specifically?
Modifications of the plank.
Anyone else? No, those are definitely good ones to have. Just kind of spices things up. Did anything hurt today? Does anyone have any pre-existing pain, or did anything that we done today aggravate?
Yeah, I have pain in the lateral part of my knee, so I can't do bridges.
Is that what you're doing with your clams? Anything else for anybody?
Alright guys, so to conclude, we want you guys to remember that Pilates requires a lot of core exercises, kind of less than meditation, but more of your core exercises. So with that, we want to end with this kind of motto chant that we're going to be going at throughout the course. So we're going to be saying, Pilates is not, and then you guys will respond with yoga. Okay? So Pilates is not
Yoga.
Pilates is not
Yoga.
Pilates is not
Yoga.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.